Hello, Gemini. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your March 2020 tarot forecast. I'll be giving you a Celtic Cross reading for the month of March 2020 for all Gemini people, sun, rising, and moon. See what insight, information, and advice we can gain for you for the month. All right, so without further ado, let us begin. We would like a Celtic Cross reading for all Gemini people, sun, rising, and moon, for the month of March 2020. Let us see what we get. Is that it? That's it. All right, so for your current outside influences, you got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. For the challenge card, the Four of Swords. For the underlying energy, the Three of Wands reversed. Is it just me, or should I move this camera ever so slightly? I think that's better. All right. For the past, the Four of Cups reversed. For what you hope to achieve, the Ace of Swords. Very nice. That Gemini air mental energy. For the near future, the Knight of Pentacles reversed. For your attitude or position on the situation, the Eight of Swords reversed. For the outside force coming in, the Ten of Wands reversed. For your hopes or fears, oh boy, the Tower. It's just falling in your hopes or fears, though, so don't get too worried. And the final outcome card, the High Priestess reversed. Okay, wow, isn't this a deliciously interesting reading, especially towards the end there, but well, it's all interesting. But the end is especially interesting, I would say. Okay, so let's dive in. So, beginning with your current outside influences, right around the beginning of the month, this is how you begin the month of March. You got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So there may be some feelings of insecurity, especially like financial and material insecurity that you may need to work through. Now, it's interesting that, of course, we have coming up in the near future as well, the Knight of Pentacles reversed. And so I'm almost wondering if for many a Gemini person out there, this Queen and this Knight could sort of represent an individual, maybe the same person, maybe male or female, because, well, a Knight and a Queen, but like an earth sign who you may have some conflict with. Both of them are reversed. Earth signs, those are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, so I would say be wary of that. But on like a deeper level, and especially with, okay, yeah, some of these other cards coming up here that I'm seeing, this card is suggesting this idea of being out of touch with the flow and harmony and nourishment of life. And so this almost seems to be a theme that's building this month. I would say, have you been working too hard? Have you been taking enough time to rest? Have you been taking enough time to nourish yourself and replenish yourself, because if not, this card is really suggesting that you do that, really pointing to that being an important thing right now. On that note, your challenge card this month is indeed the Four of Swords. Rest and retreat. Sorry, I had a Mercury retrograde moment there. Rest and retreat and withdrawal and taking some time out, a pause. Now, it's interesting. This card does not represent peace, not truly, but it does represent a pause in the action. And it's like the cards are saying that for many of you, you need to take that time out for yourself this month. Let's see, kind of scan the rest of the cards here a bit. Okay, there may be a need also for a rather objective, sort of maybe even analytical look at things this month. We'll get a bit more into that later. And also, again, let me reiterate this idea of nourishment, because this card crosses over the Queen of Pentacles reverse. You know, if you need to take a break from working, if you need to take time to rest, make sure you do that this month. I just want to say one more time, but expanding on it, this card represents on a deeper level the idea of the ego not having yet realized that the outer is a reflection of the inner, retreating, sort of retreating away from everything, retreating from perceived external threats in order to recuperate and regenerate itself, to refresh itself and replenish itself. And with Mercury currently retrograde in Pisces, that's a very apt thing. All of these words, recuperate, replenish, refresh, all of that. This is the time to do that. And Mercury's going to be retrograde until, I believe, about mid-March. So, and then it's going to be in its shadow after that too. So it's not like it ends there. So this is a good time for everyone to sort of take a bit of a break with things, I suppose, and refresh themselves, replenish themselves. Anyway, for the underlying energy, everything forming a foundation for your current situation this month, you got the Three of Wands reversed. So this card, when it's upright, typically talks about this idea of expanding into new territories. Well, in its reversal, it's saying that is blocked. Now, this is the underlying energy, everything that's supporting you. It's what you normally would be able to rely on to support you, or it's like your foundation. Well, something that perhaps you were expecting to help you expand into new territories is blocked this month. That's it in a nutshell. Something that you were expecting to help you move into new areas, become bigger, is blocked this month. So it doesn't mean it's not there entirely, but it is blocked. In a more generalized sense, we could be looking at delays here as well, I suppose, especially with some of the other cards that I'm seeing. But yeah, just know that this month, and again, I don't mean to keep bringing up the Mercury retrograde, but it keeps showing up in the cards, I guess not surprisingly. But, you know, this is a time naturally of delays. You know, if things are not moving as quickly as you want them to, know that planetary energy is active right now. And if you can just give it another month or so, things should start moving in a much more powerful way than perhaps they are right now. Keep in mind that many things that you experience now, particularly if there's any like significant event in your life, you will likely revisit it when Mercury goes direct and moves back over the point that it was at when you experience the event now. For the past and issues you've had to deal with, then lead into the present, you got the Four of Cups reversed. So we can look at this card and say, a need to be open to what the universe is trying to offer you. You know, has there been, again, with that Queen of Pentacles reversed, a lack of nourishment? You know, have you been maybe a little too ego-driven for a while and not listening enough to your higher self or source energy or God or whatever you want to call it that is telling you that maybe you need to slow down and take some time to rest and replenish yourself. Well, if that's been the case in the past, then that's likely why you see a lot of your current experiences around the beginning of this month. But generally speaking, this card is just sort of a reminder of, hey, be open to what the universe is trying to offer to you. Now, in reversal, it can sometimes indicate, at least in my experience, greater openness and confidence in oneself. Sort of almost the opposite, not exactly the opposite of the meaning I just gave, but sort of, rather than being so closed off to possibilities, be more open to them, and along with that coming like a confidence, a greater confidence. So if you've been building up your confidence recently, expect that to continue into this month. All right, so for what you hope to achieve, you got the Ace of Swords. So this is your highest hope, your highest goal, what you are reaching for this month. The Ace of Swords, the clarity of thought, the powerful new intellectual beginning, or a powerful new beginning in general. It's fascinating because, yet again, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, we're not, all of us are not seeing things as logically as we typically do. Well, you, Gemini, air sign that you are, you're wanting to see things clearly. You're wanting to cut through the fog. Now, whether that will be possible or not, I can't say for sure. It's not exactly energetically predisposed for that to work out well at this time, or energetically, I don't know what the word would be, ideal for that at this time. But nevertheless, how do I put this? The Ace of Swords can also be like this exciting energy of breakthrough, discovery, research, some new idea, some new like eureka moment, this aha, again, like a sort of an intellectual breakthrough. And again, this is what you're reaching for this month, what you hope to achieve. And will you get it? Well, results may vary as I look at those, last couple of cards in this reading, but we'll get to those later. But nevertheless, that's on your mind this month, that breakthrough. And well, maybe some of you will get it. But, I almost forgot to mention. So before I forget, as we just went over the Four of Cups, and before that earlier, we had the Four of Swords, double fours, fourth house is activated for you this month. That is the house of your home, your family, your land, your country, that sort of thing. And so expect your home and family area of your life to be activated this month. Also, the fourth house is your private life as opposed to your public life, your private personal life, things that are deeply personal to you that you don't typically share with the world. That is activated significantly for you this month. So do be aware of that. For the near future, you got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. I briefly mentioned this card earlier. Again, this could potentially be a conflict with an adult earth sign. That would be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But what this could also be, especially with that Three of Wands reversed for the underlying energy and some of the other cards we're getting here, is the idea of delays on the path to your success. Because when we have the Knight of Pentacles upright, it so often talks about this idea of steadily working towards one's success, especially in a financial or material sense. The reversal is an interruption in that very often. An interruption in your routine, or just in whatever you need to do in order to achieve your goals. Again, this is the first week or two. It overlaps perfectly with that ongoing Mercury retrograde, which is slowing things down, interrupting things anyway. So again, it's like this isn't a time to push forward anyway. I mean, unless maybe you really want to for some reason. If you truly have your mind made up that you're going to push forward, then fine. I won't try to stop you. But for the rest of you, this really isn't the right time to try to push forward with things. Instead, try to pull back if you can, or if there are new things happening, don't be so ready to like go all out with them if you can help it, but instead try to remain calm and focused, and again, allow yourself the time needed to replenish yourself and like nourish yourself if possible. For your attitude or position on the situation, about halfway through the month, you got the Eight of Swords reversed. Finally, some movement. Eight of Swords reversed. First thing I think when I see this card, when I get this card, is breaking free. The limitation is lifting. It is dissolving. There is some kind of a breakthrough, like you won with the Ace of Swords, or a breaking free. This is at least how you're feeling. And interesting that you also got the Tower card in Hopes or Fears. That can also represent a breakthrough. So as you're kind of getting more into the month of March, kind of like maybe late March or so, suddenly there's this kind of new like dissolving, or oh boy, I don't know how to put it, almost like breaking through the cracks in the earth or something kind of energy, where you're no longer so restrained and restricted. So there's finally some movement after the stagnation. For the outside force coming in, you got the Ten of Wands reversed. So this is likely someone or something coming at you, coming towards you. This is a card very often of great relief, letting the burden go with its reversal. However, again, this would like be someone around you who is experiencing great relief, who is letting go, and that's affecting you in some way. Or maybe a situation comes to you that represents a sense of relief, a sense of letting go, a sense of greater ease, I would say. I suppose in some cases, this could indicate something that sort of tries to tempt you into giving in at the last moment when you are nearly about to achieve and accomplish something. So if that happens, don't give in, is my advice. But I think the former interpretation is the more likely one, considering what we have here. For your hopes or fears, as I mentioned earlier, you got the Tower card, very powerful, hard-hitting, heavy-hitting card. So in a positive sense, as I mentioned, this can represent a breakthrough. So you're again hoping for a breakthrough, maybe feeling like a breakthrough is coming. It can also, I guess, in a more negative but ultimately positive sense, represent the crumbling of established structures that are built on falseness, that are built on falsity, the necessary destruction of those false structures, those structures built on false foundations, so that then the truth can emerge. So, whatever that sort of means for you. But again, this is falling in your hopes or fears. So it's not like it's happening in a very overt outward manner. It may not be happening at all, really, but it's something that is sort of in the back of your mind, like, oh, is this, are these structures built on lies going to collapse so that the truth can emerge? It's kind of like the state of mind that many of you have, and you're, well, depending on your disposition, hopes or fears, you're either hoping that such a collapse happens and the truth comes out, or you're afraid that such a collapse will happen, because even if it's ultimately to our benefit, it's not always exactly easy. I mean, just take a look at the imagery of the Tower card and you'll get the sense of what I'm talking about. It often manifests as a disaster. Again, fortunately, it's only falling in your hopes or fears. For the final outcome card this month, you got the High Priestess reversed. Oh boy, oh boy. Is there a secret that is being kept hidden from you? Are you listening to your intuition? Are you paying attention to the subtle signs? Is there knowledge that you need to access? Is there someone who is acting vampiristically towards you? Is there vampirism about? Is there a vampire in your midst who is sucking your life energy, draining your energy. Well, keep a good outlook, I suppose. Now, in a more positive sense, the High Priestess reverse can sometimes represent instead a sort of coming out of one's shell, the end of loneliness, the end of withdrawal, and like being more social and getting out there into the world a bit more. And so perhaps we'll see that for many of you. In fact, here, as I so often do, let's draw one more card and see if we can get an idea of which it's going to be. Well, we got the King of Cups, as if to suggest looking deep into one's emotions, the airy aspect of water, the mental aspect of emotion. And so a sort of clear vision of emotion. I think what then the High Priestess reverse is really getting at is saying, hey, pay attention to your intuition, pay attention to your inner world, have almost an objective view, if you can, of your emotional and like subjective state. Have an objective view of your subjective state to the best of your ability. All right, so that is about it, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a magnificent month of March. If you did enjoy this, feel free to subscribe if you aren't already. I'm always streaming more astrology and tarot-related content. And other than that, thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.